Object-oriented design and programming. In this video, we will understand two essential concepts: access specifiers and methods. Firstly, let's talk about access specifiers. In C++, access specifiers are the keywords that are used to control the visibility of members, which includes variables and methods within a class and its derived classes. There are three types. First is private, second is protected, and third is public. In private, the members declared as private are accessible within the class and it is hidden from the external access. In protected, the members declared are protected and it can access within the class and its derived classes, and it cannot be accessed outside the class hierarchy. In public, the members declared as public are accessible anywhere in the program. It means it is mostly visible to all the class members. Let's look at this example code snippet to understand the access specifiers. Here we have the class name as example class and the three data members as private, protected, and public. Next is methods. In C++, methods are functions that define inside a class and perform specific operations on the class data members. There are two types. First is inside the class and second one is outside the class function. Inside the class function, methods are defined within the class and they are often used to manipulate and interact with the class data members, and they have direct access to the private, protected, and public members of the same class. Now let's look at this code snippet to understand how the accessing members inside the class function works. Here we have the example class as a class name, and inside this class we are having private, protected, and public data members. Inside this we are trying to access these all three members using this void method inside class. Here we have private protected, protected member, and public member. All these can be accessed these data members without any issues. On the other hand, accessing member outside the class follows different rules. Methods defined outside the class are typically used to perform operations on the class objects. They interact with the class using its public interface. Now let's look at this code snippet accessing members outside the class to understand how it works. Here we are having the class example class. Inside this example class, the private, protected, public data members are declared. If you try to access these data from the outside the class, we can do that by object.public_member, object.private_member, and object.protected_member. Since this method outside class follows class objects and it can interact only the public interface, so the public access specifier gives the access to the whole program. So the outside the class function from the object.public_member, it can easily access the data, but it is not in the case for object.private_member and object.protected_member. If you try to access those data, it will give us an error, cannot access the private member outside the class. So this covers the basic introduction of access specifiers and methods. Now we are going to explore a simple C++ program that involves classes, objects, and encapsulations. Has include IO stream. This line includes the input and output stream header files, which is necessary for using the functions like std, cout, and std_endl. Here the class is called car and it has three types of speed variables: private speed, protected speed, and public speed. These variables have different access level, meaning they can be accessed in different ways. And next we have a constructor named car that initialize all these speed variables to 0 when a car object is created. The class has two member functions, set speed and display speed. The set speed int speed, this function sets the speed for all three types of speed variables: private, protected, and public. It is a way of encapsulating the process of updating these variables within the class. And the display speed, this function displays the function of all three speed variables when it is called. It provides a way to see the current state of the objects. Now our main function, we created an instance of car called car class called myCar. MyCar dot set speed 50. We set the car speed of myCar to 50 using this setSpeed method. This method internally updates all three speed variables. And myCar.displaySpeed function, we then call displaySpeed to see the values of speed variables. This method prints the current state of my car and returns 0. This line indicates the successful completion of the program to the operating system. The output of the program will look like this when I am trying to run the program. If I click to run the program, and as you can see here, the results are the output results are private speed 50 and protected speed 50 and public speed 50. Now let's see the example program for methods inside functions. Before that, let me clear this output console, and here we are having the class rectangle, and it has the private member variables length and width to represent the dimension of the rectangle, and we are having the public constructor rectangle double L double W, length L and width W. This constructor of the rectangle class, it initialize the private member variable length with length and width with the values provided as arguments. Next is the public member functions double calculate area and double calculate perimeter. This used to calculates and returns the area of the rectangle using the given formula and prints the results. Next is the main function. Here we are having the rectangle my rectangle 5.0 and 3.0. This line creates an instance of the rectangle class named my rectangle with a length of 5.0 and 3.0 width, and we used to call this member function by myRectangle dot calculate area. This line calls the calculate area method of the myRectangle object to calculate the area and prints the result. And next is myRectangle dot calculate perimeter. This line used to call the method of myRectangle dot objects to calculate the perimeter and prints it. Okay, now let's run the program. 15 and 16 in the output console. This program prints and calculate the area of the rectangle to the console by using the given formula. Let me clear this output console. The next program is methods outside function. Here we are having the class definition as rectangle, and the private members are double length and double width, and the public members are rectangle, void set dimension, void display dimension, void display dimension, double calculate area and double calculate perimeter. And the rectangle is the constructor declaration, and the rest of these are the member function declaration. Next is constructor definition. Rectangle, rectangle, length 0 and width 0. Initialize the length and width to 0 when the rectangle object is created. And these are all the member function definitions to calculate, display and set the dimensions for the rectangle. And the main function creates an instance of the rectangle class named myRectangle. So it calls set dimensions, display dimensions, calculate area and calculate perimeter to compute, display and set the dimensions of the rectangle. And myRectangle.calculate area and myRectangle.calculate perimeter will display the output in the console. So if I click run this program, so it will give us the length, width and area of the area and the perimeter of the rectangle. So this is all about the program explanations for access specifiers, methods inside and methods outside the functions. Thank you.